My name is Commander Scott Sanborn. I'm the Operations Officer and Chief Pilot at Air Station Houston. 21 years ago, I joined the Coast Guard, went to the Coast Guard Academy, and when I got in the Academy, I realized we had aircraft, and I had an opportunity to go to flight school. So my dream of flying since I was about 5 years old, this could actually become a reality. So everything about the job is fantastic. So that's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is everything I get to do every day, putting together a flight schedule, managing some phenomenal Coast Guard officers, helping with the hangar deck, just as a leader at the unit. Leading people is probably one of the most rewarding things any of us get to do. Also the most challenging thing we get to do to try to mentor the next generation of Coast Guard officers and enlisted leaders to grow in the organization. So because people are not cut and dry, everybody's different personalities, motivations are challenging, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Back in 2006, I was on just scheduled to do a patrol in New York City. I ended up going single pilot, which is a unique thing of the 65 to be able to go single pilot, and it was me and a flight mech. We flew through New York City, and somebody made a radio call saying, hey, we have an engine out, and we're going down just north of the George Washington Bridge. And I turned to the flight mech and said, hey, that's like, we're right here, So we diverted ourselves to start looking for them, and the New York City Police Department were able to pinpoint that position. So when we came back down the river, we saw them hoisting one of the pilots, and they said, hey, we're still missing one of the pilots if you want to start looking for him. So we started circling around, and sure enough, there's a guy treading water. The flight mechanics had to pay out some slack on the cable, and we backed up a little bit to almost like play like a fishnet, and he was able to bring the basket in, and the survivor fell into the basket, and we hoisted him up. Halfway in, I realized, I'm like going to LaGuardia's airspace, I'm pulling the chart out, trying to manage that while doing the landing checks and make sure the gear's down. And because the flight mech was totally, occupied with dealing with the survivor, keeping him warm with blankets and comfortable, triaging him. Again, it happened so fast, probably within about 20 minutes it was over. So, but he called me the next day from his hospital bed and said, hey, I just want to thank you. And he's the only survivor I've ever had call me later and tell me thank you for what you did and saving my life. So. I had a family from the start, as in like when I started flying, my wife was there, we went through flight school together. We started having kids right away. In Atlantic City, I had my daughter and my son, and they've been part of it from the beginning. They've given up a lot of sacrifice as I've been on duty, done several shipboard deployments. So there's nights that I'm not available. Can't go to soccer games, can't go to judo, can't go to church with them. So that's definitely a sacrifice that they make, as well as picking up and moving every 4 years. So it's interesting their perspective on things. So I have a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8, 4, and a 6-month-old. So they all have an interesting perspective because they've all seen different parts of my career. But it's funny, like taking ops calls, they all watch me do that all the time. So my 4-year-old the other day, Jack, he pulled out his phone and started taking ops calls, and he's like, hey, I'm on the phone, and I was like, I don't think I really do it that way, do I, and so it's kind of funny just to see the things that they pick up on. The Coast Guard is a blip on in our life. It's 20 years sounds like a long time, but it goes by pretty fast. I can't believe I'm already at, coming up on 18 years this next summer. So when you get out of the Coast Guard, you want to have your friends and family standing by your side. You don't ever alienate or squander them for the sake of your career, because your career is too short, and your family and your friends are who's going to be there at your side that's going to walk the rest of the next chapter of your life with you. So I guess that's what I'd leave.